So now that you've unboxed your Rotex RO150, 125, or RO90, we'll walk you through the process of getting it set up to sand your first piece of material. First thing you always want to do is pick out the correct abrasive for the material you're going to be sanding and then install it on the pad. To do so, since there's so many holes, I usually pick 2 holes and focus on aligning those 2 holes. If you try and line up all the holes at the same time, it gets confusing and then you can't get them lined up. You always want to make sure that you have an abrasive on the pad before you set it down, because if you don't, the pad could pick up material and debris, and then when you put that on there, it's going to make a high spot on the pad and could give you swirl marks. So once that's done, next step is to attach a plug-it cord that comes with your Rotex sander. And to do that, you just simply line it up, put it in, and give it a full quarter turn until you can't turn it anymore. Then attach your 27mm hose to the dust extraction port and give it a turn as well. That's a locking dust extraction end. So on the top, if you remember, everything with Festool that's green typically does something. We have 2 switches on the top. This bottom switch is your power, so that'll turn it on and off. And this top switch is your mode selector switch. You have random orbit, which is the small dots, and then you have Rotex, which is a gear-driven random orbit, which is much more aggressive with the large dots. Once you've selected the proper mode for what you're going to be sanding, you can adjust the speed. Typically with the speed, if I'm sanding just bare wood, I'll leave it at the highest setting. Now if I get into sanding paints, plastics, things of that nature, I'll dial down the speed so it doesn't heat up the pad to where it might melt the surface. So in the next video, I'll talk a little bit about sanding technique and how to remove and install the pads on all these sanders.